Happy horror days, everybody, from the Lacercast. It's me, Danny, and I got a quick little video to go out. At my day job, I am a high school teacher, and I decided to, in this season of giving, share my love of horror. You know I love sharing my love of horror with Charlotte. She just turned 11 years old, and she is already well-versed in horror movies far beyond her years. I decided to share my love of horror films with my students as well, and I started Mr. T's Fright Club, a once-a-week club where we meet after school and watch horror films in the building. And I've been showing them holiday-themed horror this month. We watched, in our previous 2 sessions, we watched Gremlins. The kids really enjoyed that. But we only had one last meeting before the holiday break. And with only an hour, I didn't want to start a movie and then have to wait until, 3 weeks into the new year to finish it. So instead, I showed my favorite segment/episode of Tales from the Crypt and All Through the House. The original 1972 Tales from the Crypt anthology film from Amicus, which stars Peter Cushing, amongst others. This segment in that film stars Joan Collins as a mother who murders her loving husband, and while her daughter is upstairs waiting for Santa Claus. Well, it just so happens that the radio announces that a killer has escaped from a mental institution and is dressed as Santa Claus. And as she is trying to cover up her husband's murder, this deranged Santa killer is trying to break into our house. The entire segment of that 1972 anthology is 12 minutes long, and you can find it streaming for free on YouTube. I showed it to my class. Just as one of the girls sitting in my in the classroom started to talk about how it was a little bit lame, there's a jump scare, and I got some screams in the classroom. So that was great. I remember renting the big plastic VHS box from Flo's video store across the street from my apartment building when I was younger. It had the big skull on the cover, and I knew Tales from the Crypt because I knew it was an HBO show, and they had just started playing it on Fox at midnight on Saturdays. And it was the first horror show that I made it a point, even when I was like 8 years old, I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to stay up till midnight, and I'm going to watch this scary show. And I love the music and the Crypt Keeper and everything. And in 1989, that show went on the air on HBO. And the second episode ever, was a remake of And All Through the House. This time starring, of all people, Mary Ellen Trainor, who you probably know as the mom from Goonies, who you couldn't possibly imagine doing something as horrible as murdering her husband in slinky lingerie with a fireplace poker. And I'll never forget seeing this because of the iconic performance of the late Larry Drake, who was the deranged killer Santa. Because this was a full episode of Tales from the Crypt, it's 22 minutes, more, almost double the length of the segment from the original movie anthology. But you can watch this also streaming totally free right now on YouTube, which was great. I got to show my students both of these And All Through the House segments back to back. And I gotta tell you, the kids loved this one more. They loved the 1989 version more. And they enjoyed making fun of me for being old, for remember watching it when it first came out. But yeah, you get Mary Ellen Trainor versus Larry Drake after she kills her husband. Her husband, by the way, who barely gets a chance to say more than 5 words, is played by Marshall Bell, who plays the weird homoerotic gym teacher from A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. You'll definitely recognize him. And yeah, 22 minutes, really scary. Larry Drake gives a great performance. And I'll never forget the iconic ending where she runs downstairs and her daughter lets in. It's the same ending in both segments. The daughter, so excited on Christmas Eve to see a man dressed like Santa Claus, lets Santa in, except in the 1989 version from the TV show, Larry Drake looks at her, axe in hand, naughty or nice, and she screams to end the episode. And then we get, of course, the Crypt Keeper telling all of us boils and ghouls to say goodnight. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to just talk about those two, comparing and all through the house segments. The one from the original 1972 horror anthology, Tales from the Crypt, and the second from the HBO series, which debuted in 1989. And the best part, like I said, if you don't own them on DVD, if you can't find them on streaming, they're streaming free on YouTube, the segments anyway, and it's a combined 34 minutes. So it was a great day in Mr. T's Fright Club at my school. My students really enjoyed both of these episodes, and I can't wait to get to next year when we could show some more horror films. I'm thinking of starting the new year off with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think that'll be a good one. Coming up on the Lasercast, Pete and I are going to be uploading a video. We did a deep dive discussion about the 1968 classic Rosemary's Baby. We figured it's almost Christmas time. It's a very holy time of the year. Why not cover the unholy trinity? So we started with 1968's Rosemary's Baby. We'll be moving on to 1973's all-timer, The Exorcist, and we'll be rounding it out with my personal favorite, 1976's The Omen, starring Gregory Peck. And that's what you have to look forward to. If you go on our channel now, we have a ton of cool interviews. We had a great year on the Lasercast. Got to interview a bunch of cool people. Joe Lansdale, his son Keith Lansdale, Max Booth III. We have an interview up there with Josh Maurerman, the writer of Bird Box. We have a interview up there with Jordan Graham, the director of Seder, which is streaming on Shudder now. And we also have a great interview with Stephen Kostansky, the director of Psycho Goreman, one of our favorite films of the year. So stay tuned to the Lasercast for unholy horrors coming up this holiday season. And we'll see you very soon. I have to go and see Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh, yeah.